Welcome to the Black Pill. This is my channel, I guess. Hey, I'm some dude with some degrees and stuff, and I'm just trying to think about things. Just trying to think about things that are outside the usual sphere of my education. And the Black Pill, the Black Pill. This is a term used in some pretty dysfunctional forums around the internet, and it's basically the idea that there's no hope, that outcomes are arbitrary. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, in the incel sorts of pages in the world, it's about um, you're never going to have a relationship with a woman. The Chads are going to do it, and so you might as well lay down and rot. Matrix, the Matrix thing, and Morpheus offers Neo the choice between the red pill and the green pill, and if he takes one of them, he sort of just goes back to sleep and has this pleasant dream that life is normal and okay and everything. And if he takes the other one, he wakes up into the real world, and the real world is like harsh and toxic, and there isn't any real hope there except what they can manufacture. And then the black pill, it's this argument that in fact there's no hope in either of those options. Just lay down and rot, ultimately struggling, and then death is all that there is for us in the world. And yeah, so I'm an existentialist. I'm an existential psychologist, and when I think about the idea of hope, what does hope mean? When Americans use the word hope, they often mean mere optimism. Optimism is just the idea that we shouldn't think negative thoughts about things. We should just trust that everything's going to be okay. Scientists will solve climate change, and so I don't really need to think about it, lose any sleep over it. Certainly not do anything about it. Just like, or in the most dysfunctional version of it, just pretend there is no climate change. You know, there are no fascists in America. Racism is solved. All of that kind of thing. That's optimism. It's going to be okay, and so we don't have to expend any effort to make it okay. And even worse, we can just close our eyes to the various problems that surround us. And that is that can lead all the way into toxic positivity. It's not a really great, helpful worldview to have, and for an individual person, it might be all that they can manage. Their circumstances are so dire or depressing or actually hopeless that the best thing one can do is just pretend things are okay, and eat a slice of pizza, watch the Great British Bake Off on the television, and try to sleep through the catastrophe that is life in the closing days of American democracy. Hope is something. Hope is something much more difficult than that. Hope is what happens when you come through despair. Despair is when you can look at situations and see them as they in fact are, honestly. And when you look at situations honestly, there doesn't seem to be much cause for sort of banal, facile optimism. Climate change is taking us out. It's taking us out right now. People are dying, and wildfires and drought is consuming all of our territory, and it just it's a mess out there. All of the problems that we predicted would follow climate change are starting to come to fruition. Sort of mass human migrations, and pandemics, and the rise of fascism. And when it comes to democracy, like, it doesn't seem like we have the political will to not let Republicans overthrow democracy in 2024, if not 2022. Republicans are basically guaranteed to win control of the Congress, and when they do that, they just have the ability to deny the results of the next election, whatever they are. And we can see this all very much taking place as we speak. And so these situations, the problems are so big. Like American racism is so big and intertwined with other issues, and climate change is so big and intertwined with other issues. There's so much disinformation and misinformation. What can we do? What can one person do? What are you going to do about climate change? Are you going to get buy an electric vehicle? That's going to have no impact whatsoever. The carbon footprint of making that car is way bigger than any petroleum expenditure savings you'd have by trading in the car that you have. You should just drive the car that you have until it wears out and try not to. It's such a huge mess. These are big problems requiring big government, and so that's despair when you start to recognize how big and immovable all of the major problems that we experience are, how interrelated they are, and how little they are to do with our individual choices or morals or anything like that. And so the Black Bill is just sort of a careful and studious reflection um, of the things that might inspire us to despair. And if there's any hope, it's that on the other side of that despair is some kind of hope, where people who are willing to sit and look sternly and seriously at big problems do find some way to at least convince people there is a problem and become the scientists that can fix those problems, become the voters that can vote in the interests of democracy in the instead of in the weird narrow interests promoted to us in political media. So this is some kind of manifesto, I guess, or a statement of purpose for this channel, and things should get hopefully more interesting from here. I think the first video series I'm going to do, maybe the last video series I do, is going to be about Umberto Eco and his sort of 13 warning signs of fascism. We'll just meditate together on how prescient those signs might or might not have been when he wrote those down in 1995. For now, I'm out.